What is up, my Shadowverse soldiers, and welcome back to another Shadowverse Evolved video. So today we're doing Havencraft. I do not know what is coming out of Havencraft. I know there's going to be some pretty cool cards. I know there's going to be lots of art to talk about, but I don't think anything too crazy comes out of Havencraft. Hopefully my thoughts will change by the end of this video. So let's see what comes out in Havencraft today. Alright, and so the first card we have is Ather of the White Wing, and for 7, and when you play her, she has Ward, but when she comes into play, you search for a bishop follower other than Ather of the White Wing with cost lower than your max play points from your deck and put it onto the field. As soon as I look at these high costing cards, the first card I can think of is in Statute Seraph, because cards like this, by playing it for free, is absolutely amazing. So you can play this for free and then go ahead and get another bishop follower that's less than, potentially 9 play points if you're doing it off the Statute Seraph line, and then go ahead and play it. So let's figure out what the other bishop cards are potentially. Alright, and next we have Andromeda. So for 1, when it comes into play, fanfare this turn, your leader and all of your followers will not take any damage from effects. So this is the card that Egghaven needed. So the fact that, Humpty Dumpty does deal 5 to the board, but with an Andromeda out on the field, you play Humpty Dumpty, then you play this, and then all the followers don't take the damage. So just your opponent takes all the damage, and then you can keep your board, and then you can move on from there. Alright, next up we have Cladonian Board. For 5, it has Rush, and once per turn, when your amulets leave the field, this gains +2/+2 and a sail. Not a bad takeaway if you're playing like straight amulet removal or just playing amulets. This is a nice card for 5, and the fact that it has Rush. So let's say I play Cambodian Boar and they potentially get rid of amulet for free. Well, he gets that +2/+2 and a sail, and he has Rush, so he can go ahead and swing into something that they're leaving unengaged, potentially like a ward or something, to just go ahead and remove it off the field. Alright, next up we have Calabra of Prayers, and so 1 cost amulet, and once per turn when another amulet comes onto your field, you may add 1 to your leader's defense. Alright, so this is not a bad card for 1, especially if you just drop it on 1. Your opponent's definitely not going to really deal with it. Every time an amulet comes in the field for the first time, you gain 1 defense, and that's not bad, especially if like a potential amulet heals you, you can get that, and then this one on top of the amulet you played. Alright, and we have Dark John, and for 6, you can evolve her for 1, but when she comes into play, you deal 2 damage to all other followers, and then give +2/+0 to all of your other followers. Not a bad skill, it just hurts that you're going to be dealing 2 damage to your followers on your field, but they do get a buff along with that, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, a give and take type of situation. Alright, and we have Dark John Evolved. So when you evolve her, if your leader has 5 or more health, choose an enemy follower, deal 4 damage to all followers and all leaders. Alright, so all in all, not bad. It seems like Dark John is going to be a pretty decent boss monster for Havencraft. The fact that, as long as you have 5 or more health, you're going to be doing all this. You can choose an enemy follower and potentially get rid of it, and then you're going to be burning their leader, which is also nice too. And the fact that Dark John also gives everybody a buff line, so potentially if you evolve, you can put them in potential lethal range. Alright, so we have Globe of the Starway. So for 2, it's an amulet. When it comes into play, you search for an amulet card from your deck and put it onto the field. And then you can quick to activate. You use 2 play points and engage this card and put it into the graveyard. Add 1 to your leader's health, and then you draw a card. Alright, so I love it when I see Havencraft getting these control elements of cards. So we can use this on 2, go ahead and search for that in Statute Seraph if that's what we're running in the deck. And that next turn, we can, at the end of their turn, potentially, we can put this into the graveyard and then add 1 to our leader's defense, draw a card, and then we get another draw when it comes back to our turn. So I love control elements like that. Alright, next up we have Myth Shaman. For 2, he's a 2/2, and you can evolve him for 1. So let's figure out what his Evo does. So we have the Myth Shaman Evo. So on evolve, you choose another one of your followers and you give it Aura. I don't know how practical this card is, but I know this ability is very, very good, especially when you're trying to keep something on the field and then swing into it and, praying that your opponent doesn't have the removal. Well, instead, how about just playing Myth Shaman and giving something Aura, so now they have to swing into it to get rid of it. Alright, and we have one of our bishop cards. So we have Octo Bishop. For 4, he has Ward, and at the start of your end phase, he gains +2 defense. So with the legendary card that we looked at earlier, this is one of those cards that you can get and just play for free. That's not bad, especially the fact that the legendary card is Ward and this card has Ward. So I feel like the Ward deck is definitely going to be very amazing. And also there's another combo card that I'm thinking of. It like switches the defense with their attack. I can't remember what card it is, but it's definitely one of those followers. I feel like that's going to be very strong in this deck, especially if this card's going to be gaining defense every end phase. Alright, next up we have Sister of Punishment, and for 2, she's a 2/3. Once per turn, when one of your amulet leaves the field, you choose an enemy follower and deal 2 damage to it. So this is a pretty good card for early game decks, just like Aggro Abyss or something like that, or maybe even Sword like that. But this is a pretty good card because it's going to be dealing 2 damage every time an amulet leaves. So instead of like rocking a whole bunch of angelic snipes, you know, you can keep doing your game plan, have Sister Punishment on the field, see if your opponent has the answer to deal with this card, and if they don't, then you're just going to be accumulating damage just from removing amulets and just playing more amulets throughout the game. Alright, and we have Star Priestess, and for 6, she's a 3/3. You can evolve her by banishing an amulet, but when she comes into play, you can engage 2 amulets and choose an enemy follower, deal 3 damage to it, and add 3 to your leader's defense. Alright, now a question arises. So, when you can evolve this card, you need to banish an amulet. So, and am I able to use in Statute Seraph to banish, to go ahead and evolve her? And then also be able to, when she comes into play, go ahead and engage in Statute Seraph, because it never really gets engaged or ever removed. So you can use that as one of the fanfare abilities. But the real bigger question is, can I use in Statute Seraph as a target to banish, which can't be removed, to evolve this card? Alright, and we have the Star Priestess Evo. So on evolve, you choose an amulet from your graveyard and put it onto the field. So as soon as I look at this card ability, all I can think of is cool Priestess. And this card is a little bit better because it doesn't have that restriction of, you know, 5 or less. But really, what other amulet are we going to be getting out of the cemetery that costs 5 or I guess essentially 6 or more when playing Star Priestess? But the front ability is very worth. Alright, and next up we have Star Torren. So it's a 4-cost quick spell. So quick, deal 3 damage to all enemy followers which are in engaged position. If there's an amulet on your field, add 2 to your leader's defense. Not bad. So if you're going up against aggro and, you know, they're just swinging face and they're probably swinging for their potential last bit of damage, you know, aggro, they're not going to have really big defense because they're playing really small cards early on in the game. So when you get into turn 4, you can essentially board wipe. Now, is this going to place Themis or is this going to replace Alkoi's Light? No, but this is a pretty nice card to take into account whenever you're going against potential aggro decks. Alright, and we have Starchaser Sprite. So for 3, she comes into play. Fanfare, you can engage 2 amulets and then draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Alright, I feel like this card definitely has a wonderful ability in the early game. This card pairs wonderfully with the Will to Overtake. You can go ahead and look at the top 3 cards of your deck, potentially draw 2 of them, and then, you know, go ahead and discard to get your hand down to a decent size so it's not too ridiculous. But I feel like this card and the Will to Overtake is going to be a very nasty combo going forward. Alright, and we have Zoe, Queen of Golden Naya. So for 4, you can evolve her for 1, but when she comes into play, you deal 2 damage to your leader, and then you put the top 2 cards of your deck into the graveyard, and then you draw a card. Alright, so this card is very interesting, because this is honestly an Abysscraft card and Havencraft, so this card is definitely having an identity crisis. So the fact that you deal 2 damage to yourself and then mill 2, that's absolutely insane, and the fact that you draw a card is nice too, so you can replace her. But these are massive Necrocharge and Abysscraft elements in a Havencraft card. So let's see what the Evo does so we can potentially get some heal back from the fanfare of dealing 2 damage to herself. Alright, and looking at the Zoe Evo. So on evolve, you choose an enemy follower and banish it. So not bad, some more on command banishing, but we don't get a heal back from what we did before of the dealing 2 damage and milling 2. But hey, it comes at a cost, so I'm able to get rid of something, and then if a card has the Last Sword's effect, it does not go off. So shout out for Zoe. Alrighty guys, sorry there are no alternate cards for the Havencraft. I'm sorry if you're looking forward to that, but there are none besides the leader cards, so look out for that whenever you're pulling your packs or, you know, when buying cards. That's the only card they have for Havencraft. Well, alright guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I love each and every one of you, and make sure you take care of yourselves, and go ahead and like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, make sure you're safe in whatever you do tonight, and safe whatever you do for the rest of the year. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
I gave you all my love, baby, my heart is cold when you're around. You warm it up, liquid gold, baby, yeah, you warm it up, liquid gold, baby, and my affection, all that paper you wasted. Take my love.